Hello. Been wanting to, I don't know, talk about life for a while. As if I don't ever already. But more specifically, like creative burnout that I've been intensely feeling the last while. I don't know what I'm doing with my life. And I know that I'm 21 and I'm not meant to know what I'm doing. But I don't know if I'm on the right path. And I also know that I have entirely the wrong mindset a lot of the time with career goals and career life stuff and whatever. Because I have that, not to quote Little Women, but I have that Amy March mindset of I want to be great or nothing. And so I keep bitching out of things and bitching out of projects out of fear that I'm going to fail at them. Or I don't try as hard as I can at something, and then I do sort of fail at it. But again, I only have myself to blame. So it's fine, or it's at least easier to deal with. Which is just not great for the L noggin, for my brain. I keep starting projects of my own, or even just hobbies, and trying to just start anything. And I'm so afraid of not being productive, and I'm so afraid of failure, and I'm so terrified of having nothing to do, that I just don't do anything. And over the last year we've had nothing but time to try do things, or to try figure out things. And I've spent the last year having only taken up one hobby, I guess, which is doing a word search every night before I go to sleep, which has been fun, but it's not necessarily something that requires skill. And I think, again, I have that sort of brain that's like, if I am not really good at something immediately, then I will stop doing it, which has only bled into my actual work life, in that I didn't think I was immediately good at writing, so I stopped. I didn't think I was immediately good at directing, so I stopped. Producing was something that just worked and fit with me and First AD and whatever, so I just kept going with that. And it's not that I don't like those roles, but even the biggest one is camera. I wasn't immediately good at working I wasn't in any way. Once again, I'm filming this on my phone. I wasn't at all good at camera to begin with, and so I stopped. And now it's just like a running gag that I don't pick up a camera and that I don't know how they work. But to quote Michael Reed, something that I truly believe in: why would you cut when you can whip pan? And if any project that I make in life doesn't have a whip pan in it, you can whip me. No, don't. Please don't whip me. Anyway, moving on. I never come away from a job being in any way proud of the work that I've done, because I'm so immediately afraid of having failed at it. It's hard to do any kind of job when dealing with any sort of mental health issues or whatever, and to have that motivation to do things, and also on top of all that have 2 autoimmune diseases, and then deal with everything on top of that, which I've been able to do. By God, have I burnt out many times, but I've been able to do it, and I'm in no way promoting burnout culture. I think it's shocking. I don't think anyone should burn out for a job. I think that's silly. I went into filmmaking in particular, and it was kind of bleak to like have this realization, but I have an intense fear of being forgotten when I die. And so I was like, what could give myself longevity? And I was recently talking to a friend about this, and he was like, but is your impact and your legacy not like the people you've emotionally touched, let's say. Who's physically touching anything right now? But is it not like the people and the family and the friends that you leave behind? Which, yeah, to a degree. But I immediately was like, okay, well, I don't act. I for some reason thought it was too late for me to even try acting as well at the age of like 13, 14, which is bizarre. But I was like, okay, I like watching movies. I love watching TV shows. I guess I'll just try make them. And that will be something that will make me remembered, because it wasn't necessarily that I wanted to be famous, but I just wanted people to care about me, which is so sad. But I think that I don't know, to go into a creative field, you need to have some amount of like narcissism almost, I think. And if you disagree with that, I disagree with you. But anyway, so I think that's why I went into all of this, and now I'm so like, and I always have been, I'm so concerned with time, and I'm so concerned with wasting time. And so in my head I'm like, well, I can't make something of my own. I can work on other people's projects. I like doing that, but in my head I'm like, I cannot make something of my own if it's not gonna be the greatest thing I've ever made. And so it's kind of like, if I'm not making my magnum opus, I'm doing nothing, apparently. It's like, during a project, I'll enjoy it at the start, I'll be totally in the groove with it, I'll reach a point where I'm like, oh, I'm terrible at this, and I'll get massive imposter syndrome with it. I'll be kind of depressed then for a strong amount of the work, and then I'll hand it in, get paid, rinse, repeat, do that all over again. And it's so difficult to constantly doubt your abilities. And I people talk about the kind of like struggling actor pipeline, but no one really talks about the like struggling crew member one, and how difficult it is to get a job. And like, I've been, I guess, fully freelance for about 6 months now, and it's like, there's no work for weeks, and you're broke and you're panicked thinking about how you're going to be able to fucking buy food, and then suddenly you're flat out for a month, and then again, rinse and repeat, you do that all over again. And it's difficult to not have your routine and to not have structure. And I know in the last year it's not like we've had it at all, but it just constantly like makes me wonder if the sad I get from filmmaking would be the same as the sad I would get without it. And I mean, I don't know what else I would do, because it's like I lose all inspiration and I lose all drive for it. And then you see one film, or you see an episode of a show you really like that you've just started watching, or you're watching a film with friends and you're all fucking logging it on Letterboxd. I was so much more interested in movies before I went to film school, and then it's like, you're around it all the time, and you're gonna get kind of burnt out from hearing about films in general, but you're around it all the time, and it's just this like constant thing. 'Cause like, I didn't have anyone around me who was also interested in film when I was growing up, friends wise, so I had no one to compare my work to, or compare myself to, or compare ideas to, or whatever. So I was really just kind of like in it myself. In my head I'm like, I'm 21, I'm too old, and also our fucking generation is so bad for just tying their worth to their productivity, which I think is terrible, but I do it myself, so I can't really shit on it that much. But yeah, I don't know, I've kind of just said a lot of words. Feeling lost in life right now. I want to know more about the film lover to struggling crew member pipeline. That's something that I want to know about. I have been on this planet for just about 2 decades. I haven't even seen Citizen Kane, and at this point I'm too afraid to watch it. That's been my brain the last few weeks. If it's been anyone else's, I say this, anyone else's. The only people that's going to see this is probably friends. But if it's been anyone else's, that was a really bad click. Hit me up. Hope you're all okay. Bye. Oh, I didn't even look at the camera. I'm a terrible person. That's the camera. Anyway, goodbye.